Hi everyone, welcome to Salesforce Topics channel. Record ownership, organization-wide defaults, role hierarchy, sharing rule. All these techniques comes under managed record sharing. Under managed record sharing, let's have a look into the role hierarchy. To understand role hierarchy in a better way, we would create another 3 users, LDR2, Tech3, Tech4, and we would apply the role hierarchy on this organization as like below. For manager, supreme role, and for LDR1, services leader role, and LDR2 also sales leader role. Under services leader role, we have services tech role. Under this, we have tech 1 and tech 2. Under sales leader role, we have sales tech role. Under sales tech role, we have tech 3, tech 4. After we have configured this role hierarchy, the users above another users in the hierarchy will get same access on the records owned by the users below. That is, in the hierarchy of Tech 1, LDR1 MGR comes above in the hierarchy of Tech 1. So, the LDR1 and MGR would get the same access as Tech 1 has the access on those records. Consequently, if the record is created by Tech 1, then whomever comes under above to this user, that is LDR1 and MGR, would also get the ownership, that is full access on that record. In the same way, if Tech 3 creates a record, the ownership would be assigned to the Tech 3 and the same ownership full access would go to the LDR2 and supreme role, that is MGR user. For better understanding, we keep role hierarchy and OWD as separate concepts. We will just look into the role hierarchy with OWD as private. Consider OWD as private for now. On this organization, let's create the roles and apply the role hierarchy. So manager 1 will fall under supreme role. Under supreme role, we will be having the service leader role and sales leader role. Under service leader role, we have services tech role. Under sales leader role, we have sales tech role. And for each user, we would assign the role, individual roles. Like for LDR1, the respective role is services leader role. And for LDR2, the respective leader role is sales leader role. Under services tech role, we have tech 1 and tech 2. Tech 3's and tech 4's role is sales tech role. Now let us assume each user has created one record in this org so that they would be having access to that record. The complete access they would be having on those records they have created. Now let's have a look into the access of Tech 1. He would be having only one record access, that is, he was the owner of that record that he has created, and he will not get any other records from his role hierarchy as he is staying at the bottom in the role hierarchy. Same way, Tech 2 will have only one record access that he has created. Let us check what are all the record access that LDR1 has access. Since he is at service leader role, he would be getting the complete access on the records that the subordinates created. Now let's have a look into the list of records that he has access. One record has a ownership, that is his own record, and two other records via role hierarchy, that is created by his subordinates Tech 1 and Tech 2. Same way, LDR2 also will have access to his subordinates records. Hence, LDR2 also will have one as owner as he has created only one record, and whatever his subordinates Tech 3, Tech 4 created records, those records also he would get access because of the role hierarchy, that is 2 records. Completely he will have 3 record accesses. Please note that as the record created by Tech 3, on that record Tech 3 had owner, the leader 2 would get complete full access on that record. The Tech4 would have the complete access on the Tech4 created record, and the same way the LDR2 also would be getting the complete access on the record created by Tech4. If you see, MGR stays at the top in the hierarchy, so he should be able to get the access of all the records that is created by his subordinates. So let's see, yes, he would be able to access all the records and he would get the same access rights that his subordinates has on those records. Now let's see the complete access of MGR. MGR, he would get one record as owner. He would get 6 records via the role hierarchy because under him there are 6 records and these records created by those 6 persons. Here whatever the record that we have seen, that is records created by that users under this role. Let's assume the Tech3 user would get another records access, only the read access, and that record is not created under this role. That record would have been created by some other user fall under another role hierarchy. So on that record, Tech3 would have the read access, and same way, since LDR2 comes on top of Tech3, LDR2 would get the read access on that record, and MGR also would get the read access on that record. For this demo, we have a custom object, that is service request, wherein we have the following fields like bill amount, city, free service, service request name, vehicle number, vehicle type. We have 4 users, that is MGR, LDR1, Tech1 and Tech4, and the profiles of LDR1, Tech1, Tech2 is same, that is VJ service profile, and user manager's profile is VJ management profile. Under this profile, we have complete access on the object level. Under VJ service profile, for our object, at the object level we have given read, create, edit, delete permissions. Same way for other profile, VJ management profile, for our object we have given complete read, create, edit, delete permissions, so that these 4 users would have the complete access on the object level, and then we can clearly see the effect of record level access. For better understanding of role hierarchy, let me save service request OWD as private. Now OWD of service request is private, so that only the owners of the record should be able to access those records. Also please note that in order to get the role hierarchy effect, this grant access using hierarchies checkbox should be checked for the corresponding object. For example, for our object, it is checked. By default, this checkbox is checked. If we uncheck this checkbox, though we have user role set up in our org, the role hierarchy effect would not get applied to the records of that unchecked object. Also note that the child object does not have this option. It inherits from its parent. For example, spare part does not have this option. It inherits from our service request master object. In our org, we have to create these 5 roles in this structure. For this role hierarchy, we have to create 3 more users, LDR2, Tech3, Tech4. I have created a new profile for the sales team, that is VJ sales profile, and I have given read, create, edit, delete permissions on our service request object. This profile I am going to assign to the sales team users. I have created these 3 users, LDR2, Tech3, Tech4, and I have assigned the VJ sales profile to those newly created sales team members. Let's create Supreme role. To create the roles, go to the settings and search for the roles. Click on setup role. Here I am going to create a new role, that is Supreme role, and it directly reports to the org. On Supreme role, we have to assign one user. So I'm going to assign a user here. And I'm going to select MGR under this role. Now Supreme role has been created and MGR is put into that role. Let's create services leader role. Services leader role should come under Supreme role. And it's reporting to the Supreme role. And let me assign the users for this role. That is LDR1. Same way, let's create sales leader role and assign LDR2 for that role. And sales leader role should come under Supreme role. So sales leader role is reporting to Supreme role. And let me assign LDR2 under this role. And the next role is services tech role. It should come under services leader role and it should have two users, tech 1 and tech 2. Under services leader role, I'm going to create services tech role. It should report to the services leader role. And under this role, I'm going to add tech 1 and tech 2 users. Now under sales leader role, we should create sales tech role. Sales tech role reports to sales leader role. Under sales tech role, we should have two users, that is tech 3 and tech 4. Now we have configured our role hierarchy. Supreme role is at the top level. Under this role, we have sales leader role and services leader role. Again, under sales leader role, we have sales tech role. Same way, under services leader role, we have services tech role. And we have assigned the users as well according to this diagram. Now, as per hierarchy, tech 1 and tech 2 comes under LDR1 and tech 3 and tech 4 goes under LDR2, and all of these users comes under MGR as he has the Supreme role, the top role. Now let's try to create the records for each user and see the role hierarchy effect. We already have records on LDR1, Tech1, Tech2, MGR. Let me create records for each users LDR2, Tech3, Tech4 as owners of their record. Each user created one record, that is service request record. Example, LDR2 has this record and he is the owner. Tech3 has created one record. He is the owner of this record. Tech4 has created this record. He is the owner of this record. Now let's log in as each individual user and see the effect of role hierarchy. Please note that we have configured organization-wide defaults of our object as private. If we apply public read write or public read only, all the records visible to all the users, and we could not see the effect of role hierarchy properly. So in order to see the effect of role hierarchy properly, I selected the private for our service request object. Later on we can change as per our requirement. Now let's log in as each user and see the effect of role hierarchy. Now Our org has the structure and each user has created his own record. And now I'm going to log in as Tech1 user and see what are all the records that he can access. Since he comes at the bottom of the hierarchy, you should be able to see his own records only. This is Tech1 user and he is able to see his own record only. He does not have any other records access. And since he is the owner, he will have complete access on this record. The same applies to Tech2 user. I'm going to log in as Tech2 user. And even Tech2 user has only one record access because in the hierarchy, he is at the bottom level. Even he is in the hierarchy, he does not have any subordinates. So he will not get any other record access. Now let's check LDR1's records access. I'm logging in as LDR1. He is able to see his subordinates records also because LDR1 is above Tech1 and Tech2. He is able to see both the records. Since Tech1 and Tech2 has ownership on those records, the full access goes to the LDR1 also because of the role hierarchy. The same access that Tech1 has on this record would be applicable to LDR1. The same access that Tech2 has on this record would be applicable to LDR1. So on the Tech1, he has complete ownership on the record. Let's verify LDR1 whether he has complete ownership on the Tech1's record. I'm accessing the Tech1's record. He is able to read. Let me try whether he is able to edit. Yes, he is able to edit. And for this example, let me try to delete this record. He should be able to delete this record. I am doing undelete. Yes, I brought back this record and he should be able to change the owner and he should be able to share this record. Since he is above the user of Tech1, he is able to perform all the operations as like what Tech1 user able to perform on this record. Same way, let's see what Tech3 can access. I logged in as Tech3 and he is able to access only one record because he is staying at the bottom of the hierarchy. He would be able to see only his own record and he will have the complete access on this. Please note that as I have very limited Lightning licenses on this org, I have created Tech3, Tech4 and LDR2 as a classic users. Same way, Tech4 user would have access to only one record as he has created only one record. Now let's log in as a LDR2 and see what are the records that he has. He should be able to have 3 record accesses and since their subordinates has created those records, he should be having the complete access on that record. I am logging in as LDR2 and clicking on all the records to see all the records. He is able to see his own record as well as Tech3's and Tech4's because he is the above user to the Tech3 and Tech4. By default, since he is the owner for this record, LDR2 record, he will be having the complete access. But let's see what accesses he has on the record created by Tech3. When I access step 3, he is able to read, should be able to edit this record. Yes, he is able to edit this record. Let me try to delete this record. Yes, he is able to delete this record as well. Let me get back this record. He is able to get back that record as well. One more point that here we should observe is the LDR2 is only able to access his subordinates records and his own records, but not the other person's records in the org. Now if you see, MGR stands on top of the hierarchy, so he should be able to access all the records and he should have complete access on those records. I am logging in as MGR user, and if you see, he is able to see all the records that were created under him, and as a thumb rule, he must be having the complete access, full access on his own record, that is on this record. Now yes, he has all the complete accesses on this record. Now let's see the others record, whether he has the complete access or not. For example, I am taking the other record that is created by LDR2 user. So he should be able to edit this record. So MGR user is able to edit the LDR2 user's record. Because of the role hierarchy, he got the complete access on this record. And he must be able to delete as well. Yes, he is able to delete the LDR's record, and he should be able to undo that deleted record. So ultimately MGR has one record as owner and other records also complete full access because of the role hierarchy, and as he stayed at the top of the role hierarchy. In our example, we have taken as OWD as private, but we can take OWD as public read rate or public read only. When we apply public read rate and public read only, we have seen the effect how the record will be shared to the entire public. But using the role hierarchy effect, the users who stands above to the other users will get the same access as their subordinates. In this session, we have discussed the managed record sharing, that is role hierarchy. In the next session, we will discuss another technique, that is sharing rule, which comes under managed record sharing. Thanks for watching. We will meet in the next session.